What's up everyone, Brenden here once again with another episode of Gaming Details. In today's video, we're going to be taking a look at the Bioshock games. This week's episode was suggested by YouTube user Jordan115V. In Bioshock 1, throughout Rapture, you can buy food items from the vending machines for a pretty reasonable price. That is, until you go by the movie theater area and see that much like in real life, they're charging ridiculous amounts for these items. I mean, just take a look. They almost triple or even quadruple the prices of these things. But hey, if you want to enjoy a snack while watching a movie, just sneak them in your coat. I mean, what's the worst that could happen? Up next, in Bioshock Infinite, as Booker and Elizabeth ride the gondola up to Emporia, the Lutece twins make another appearance. At one point during the ride, Robert appears to be painting a picture of Rosalind. However, if you take a closer look, you can see that he is actually painting a picture of himself. This is because Robert and Rosalind are actually the same person, but from two different dimensions. There are hints that point towards this all throughout the game, but this is one of my favorite examples as it's put directly in front of the player's eyes. At the start of the first Bioshock, when you make your way from the surface down to Rapture in the bathysphere, you're met by a splicer who asks,
"Is it someone new?"
Fast forward a few years later, or is it backwards? Whatever. When you make it to Columbia in Bioshock Infinite, the preacher asks you the same thing.
"Is it someone new?"
Another detail to be noted about the preacher is that he's actually blind. This may have been a way for the developers to symbolize the blind faith expressed by the followers of strong belief systems, like the one that you must accept in order to enter Columbia, which is apparently done by nearly drowning people. Shortly after waking up from what could have been your final bath, you'll notice that Booker took damage from being manhandled by the preacher. Fortunately for Booker, he walked away with just a scratch, but the preacher's other victims weren't so lucky. One last thing about this guy before we move on is that he is also the preacher who you refused a baptism from years prior. However, he can't recognize you because he is blind, as we just talked about. Now let's head over to Bioshock 2. This game really took a big step from the first one in showing off just how severe some of the physical effects Adam had on the body. For example, take a look at this female splicer's feet. It almost looks like her skin started to grow over her heels or her foot started to mutate into the shape of one. Heading back to Bioshock Infinite in the heavenly city of Columbia, the devil still lurks, and he's even selling his own product. When upgrading the Devil's Kiss Vigor, you can see that it costs $666. Speak of the devil, take a look at how they portray Abraham Lincoln here in Columbia. This painting seems to show John Wilkes Booth with a glowing aura behind him as he's about to shoot a devilish looking version of the president. For those of you who don't quite get the meaning behind this, here's a perfectly summed up explanation from Reddit user A Dry Soldier, but I'll briefly explain. Columbia's Christian society is similar to that of the old days where racism was prominent. Lincoln is seen as evil because he vowed to abolish slavery and segregation, which is not okay with the people of Columbia, as they view people of color as lesser humans. Although Columbia may be home to a dystopian-like society, it's still a beautiful city visually. If you ever find yourself looking around to absorb the environment, you might come across storm drains that read, "Alice volat proprise," which translates to, "She flies with her own wings." To me, this motto may represent the fact that Columbia is its own independent society, relying on no other countries or nations to prosper. For our final detail, we're taking a glance inside one of the tears Elizabeth opens to Paris. Within the tear, you can see the Eiffel Tower looming in the background, but more importantly, to the right of it is a movie theater sign that reads, La Revanche du Jedi.
La revanche du Jedi.
La Revanche du Jedi. La Revanche du Jedi, which translates to Revenge of the Jedi. This would tell us that Elizabeth must have opened a tear to early 1980s France at a screening of Star Wars Revenge of the Jedi. But wait a minute, isn't the title of the movie supposed to be Return of the Jedi? Well, it is. Originally, Lucas titled the movie Revenge of the Jedi. It wasn't until 5 months before the film released that he decided to change the title to Return of the Jedi. He did this because Jedi are not trained to seek revenge. This is the first clue that Elizabeth can not only open doorways to different time periods, but also alternate universes. Well, that's all the time we have for today's episode. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like as well as a comment if you have a suggestion for which game we should cover next in this series. Becoming a member gives you special perks like shoutouts and access to our Minecraft server. You can become a member by clicking the link in the description and choosing whatever tier fits your budget. Thank you again for watching, and we'll see you all in the next video.